Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Jeopardize, and in this episode we have the most interesting phone, the most futuristic phone, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 or the Z Fold 4. Now this is a really interesting phone and the interesting features will be in another video. The interesting tips and tricks will also be in another video, but we're going to be starting off with the core specs of this phone, the brilliance of this phone, the core specs, the battery, the display, the cameras. So first, let's talk about the display, which is protected by the Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, the main cover display. Also the back, which is in a matte back finish, matte black or any other color that you choose finish. You have 7.6 inches of display, the main screen, while you have 6.1 inches the cover screen. Both of the displays support S Pen input. You have dynamic AMOLED on both the displays, the main one and the cover one, and a maximum refresh rate of 120 Hz. It weighs around 263 grams, also IPX8 water resistant. It also has an aluminum frame with tougher drop and scratch resistance, so if you drop it, there's not too much damage. You also have the latest Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 with One UI 4.1. Also the new Android 12L, which is refined for a larger display or for foldable display. You have no memory card slot, no 128GB storage option as well. So if you buy one, you have 256GB as the base storage, which can go up to 1 TB. You also have 12GB standard. Now you have a total of 5 cameras, 3 of them which are the rear cameras. One is your 50 megapixel wide sensor with 83 degrees field of view, your 10 megapixel telephoto which has around 30 times space zoom. You also have your 12 megapixel ultra wide with 123 degrees field of view. You also have, these cameras can record up to 8K at 24 FPS and 4K all the way up to 60 and 30 FPS, which is slightly disappointing because nowadays a lot of the phones have 120 FPS in 4K. Now the other camera is under display camera on your main screen, which is a mere 4 megapixel, which is last, and the other one is when folded, your front screen has a 10 megapixel camera. Both the cameras can record up to 4K at 30 and 60 FPS, but the quality is not that well. You have stereo speakers, which is a common thing, and no headphone jack, which is another common thing. You have a side mounted fingerprint, which is pretty fast, and you also have a 4400 milliamp hour battery with 25 watts of fast charging, which is not that good to be honest. And you have fast wireless charging of 15 watts. You have 4 different colors. You have gray green, you have phantom black, which is this phone, and you have beige, and you also have another color called burgundy, which is extremely rare, and you have to wait a lot of time for this. Now the thing is, with this phone you don't have a lot of comparison because this foldable thing is a whole different spectrum. Now you do have the new Xiaomi Mix Fold 2, which is coined as the Samsung killer, which is true to some extent. Also in this phone, the Android 12L is also well developed for aiding in multitasking and many more other features, which I will show you in the next upcoming video. All in all, to be honest, the Z Fold 4 is much better in terms of software and not a lot of hardware, but I think the folding mechanism never gets old. But it's better than its predecessor in software and the folding mechanism, I suppose, with the new improved butterfly hinge, I suppose. So that is it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like this. I will do a lot more videos on this phone. I hope in the future I will also record from this phone. Right now I'm using the OnePlus 10 Pro for recording these kind of videos, but I hope in the future I can record future videos with this Z Fold 4. So that is it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you liked it. See you in the next one.